And welcome back to where? The beautiful Sonesta Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. We had a conversation about it earlier. Like, trying to put a little bit more oomph into it. It didn't sound like you're anywhere. Awesome view, air show today. Thanks for tuning in. Secret Life of Mold podcast. We're live at the CIRSx 22 Gathering Convention Conference.
Meeting of the minds.
Mike Marshall and Brandon Apple.
Happy to be here yet again. Just learning so much, taking in a lot of information. Literally just got out of a really good presentation. It happened to be by this individual right here, Mr. Michael Schrantz. Definitely one of the guys I look up to in this industry, somebody who's really taught us a lot is at Mold Inspection Sciences, and we try and emulate in a lot of ways. So super happy to have you here. Really appreciate your time. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the presentation you just did, which is, in short, when collecting, what to consider when, as far as outside conditions when you're collecting indoor ERMI samples.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
For sure.
Gentlemen, thank you for having me. So Michael Schrantz, I'm the owner and operator of Environmental Analytics. I've been doing this for about 25 years, all things indoor environmental. Really got a focus for clients with chronic illness or low-dose environmental exposure concerns, and so obviously it's opened up a new box of concerns and critical thinking. I could go on forever about that. I'll maybe have you guys ask questions if needed, but that's really what my focus has been. I work with clients around the globe, really just trying to get them to understand how to prioritize. If I have a problem in the house, what do I do? What are the next steps? To be honest with you, the main focus nowadays for me is the client that does already have a report, does already have an inspection, and they're wanting somebody to kind of go with it through them to see if we can parse through it and say, does this make sense? We got Mold Inspection on Science is doing great work. They're finding significant issues. It's like getting a doctor's opinion sometimes. When you have a serious diagnosis, sometimes you want a second opinion. The presentation we just got done doing was with a colleague of mine, John Banta and Bonnie Passmore, and the short of it was just really taking a look at the outdoor influence. When we're doing, the audience probably knows them as ERMI samples. The analysis that's on this whole DNA thing is MSQ-PCR. It's a mouthful, right? Mold-specific quantitative polymerase chain reaction. There will be a quiz. But the takeaway was to record all the data and the findings we had. We had a combined quantity of 209 outdoor samples that we had collected. Just like you do an ERMI dust sample inside, we're doing the same thing outside to give us more data. Because sometimes, and I'm sure you guys can relate especially, you go into a home, you're not finding a source inside, you're not seeing anything, but you're having some weird numbers come up, and so you're thinking, how can we get a better representation of the outdoors? And what we were able to hopefully demonstrate to the audience today was that, you know what, as far as toolboxes are concerned, I think we need to start taking that outdoor control sample. That might be where those molds are coming from.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff, for sure. And really, scientific method, you're supposed to have a control to start to compare things to. So, and it kind of emulates, I think you even mentioned it in there, some of the more traditional stuff, the air sampling, it was based off what's going on outside before we consider what's going on inside. So as as we progress into more of the qPCR sampling, it's important for us to take the old things that at least gave us a baseline. It makes sense to transition. It's really cool stuff. I'm really happy to see the results and looking forward to actually going back and pulling some of those slides and comparing some projects to it. I think that's something I'm going to be doing right when I get home.
What actually got you started on this side of the industry? What kind of moved you in this direction?
Yeah, sure. To me, it was really in the HVAC industry. I had worked with a family-owned company, and so we were already kind of dealing with all things indoor air quality, pathways, driving forces, air's coming from this location, transporting contaminant to that location. Didn't realize I'd be doing this at this point, of course, but gave me the foundation about the building sciences and pressure differentials. These are terms that you guys are very familiar with, of where's the driving force, where are the pathways, and kind of what happened is the short of it was ended up going to college for more of a business degree, was still doing this stuff full time, and started solving problems for people in their homes and their commercial buildings that other traditional inspectors were missing. And we weren't that wasn't the goal.
Yeah.
But we just found that it was a very sobering, rewarding, humbling experience. And so all of a sudden here I'm kind of like business track mind, and all of a sudden I shift into indoor air quality, and I fell in love with it ever since.
I like that you said rewarding. That's what it is at the end of the day. You're helping these people. You're getting, their homes healthier. You're getting them healthier. It's really, you get that good feeling when you walk away from it.
And what you wake up for in the morning, look forward to. So,
absolutely. So there's been a lot of speakers. Still more coming. We're getting close to the end. Is there anybody here? Who were you excited to hear, or what presentation really got your blood flowing?
There's no doubt there's a lot of rich content here and a wide array of topics being discussed. If I could narrow it down to two, our keynote speaker, Bob McKee, the attorney, really just representing a case of a person who was affected by exposure and what they had to go through as their team to end up getting a verdict and getting a reward or judgment, if you will. And it was just kind of there were a lot of tears being shed in that presentation because it was very emotional. A lot of people can connect with the struggles, and seeing that not all attorneys are bad, not all lawyers are bad, especially Bob McKee. He's incredibly unique and different. And if nothing else, he said all the right words, but I think he put his mouth where his money is and was able to really find justice. I think the name of his production was Justice Heals.
Yep, absolutely.
So anyway, that one was really great. It was nice to see these wins because it might be great for us to be able to find the problems, remediate, and fix it. But sometimes people are out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so he gave us that piece.
Absolutely.
I'd say the other quick one for me was really John Bant and Bill Weber talking about peptide testing.
Yeah.
This new approach of another tool in our toolbox to be able to try and locate sources. We can talk about that forever, but that was exciting.
That one too. Yeah, I did get a chance to bend John's ear a little bit, and you and I talked even. I think I have a project that might be a candidate for that stuff. So yet another just progression in the industry, another tool in the box, and another way for us to try and help people.
And the reason they have this conference, right?
Yeah.
Get together and meet, exchange ideas.
It's the industry forward.
Put them all together and.
It's the leading edge stuff. It's the tip of the spear, and it's exciting, guys, to be a part of this because when you step back, it's like we're not talking about spore trap sampling or Patriot edge sampling. It's literally cutting edge stuff, and to what they were able to present today on that specific thing, it's like I'm definitely added it too. In fact, I had the privilege of working with John last week on a huge 9,000 square foot home. My back is sore, but the amount of samples we collected, we're starting to be able to pinpoint areas that otherwise are hidden. So it's amazing.
Yeah, it is for sure. And proud to be a part of it. And it's hard work, but it's work we all need to do. And just keep pushing the envelope and getting smarter as we go. That's all we can try and do.
Right on.
Top 3 takeaways so far from CIRSx 2022.
Well, I'd say the first one is that it does take a village. I mean, this is nothing necessarily new, but I can't. There's been a theme with it takes a village and team effort working together. But I got to tell you, you need to have the patient on board with the environmental professionals, whether it's remediation, it's assessors, that kind of thing, like you guys, and certainly the patient being on board. That's probably the big top takeaway. And it was so nice. We've been preaching this for years, but it was nice to see. You can kind of sense the energy, and maybe part of that's because it's been a while since we've all met in person. But
that does help,
right? But that energy and everyone wanting to work together. For those of you who are out there listening who are maybe patients, it really does. You do want to find that right team, or know that you're working with somebody who are communicating across the boundaries, because you might not need to do that much testing, or maybe you're doing the wrong testing, or maybe the clinician needed to hear what your findings were so they can finally get you on that final step of the Shoemaker protocol, or whatever the case may be. That's probably the top one. Top 2 takeaway for me again was probably Bob McKee. He's now going to be in my Rolodex. I mean, I get so many people who feel like, victims of situation. He doesn't like that term. I remember him saying that.
That was part of the presentation. I like that too.
Right, but it's just having a reference for him to help you, and even if you can't use him, that he can probably try and find somebody in your local area. So that was really rewarding to hear. And gosh, the third thing, probably it's tough.
Maybe karaoke.
Karaoke at the restaurant. That was top 3. Maybe what would cut in front of that is Jimmy Johnson did a talk about stresses and anxieties, and just the important part to talk about taking care of yourself and balance. And gosh, I can't tell you, even from my own personal experience, of how much that rings home or rings true to me. We have to take care of ourselves. Maybe this goes out to all the practitioners out there and the professionals, but guys, we're dealing with a lot. And so I think you need to remind yourself about balance and not being overworked. And you need to it's okay to step back and take time for yourself, because if you're coming into work all stressed out, zoned out, you're not going to be there 100% for the client. And Joel Heibloom in his presentation talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good points for sure. Definitely appreciate it. Jenny and Joel as well. So
yeah, we had them on earlier. I mean, a lot of that sounds like in his first takeaway, the mold infection sciences CIRS protocol triangle.
Yeah.
Is having our patient and the patient surrounded by, ethical professional on the medical side, ethical professional on the remediation side, and also on the assessment side.
yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Cool.
All right, well, I think that's going to run it. We got one more day, guys. One more day. Tomorrow is Sunday. We don't even know what day of the week it is.
That's how much
Tomorrow's
content.
Sunday. Yeah, taking in so much content. 10:45 a.m. You'll have Aya and Craig Cooper, the original host of the Secret Life of Mold podcast, for Mike Marshall, Brandon Apple, and Mike Schrantz. Peace and love. See you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you.
Thank you for joining me today for this episode of the Secret Life of Mold podcast.